And we're good. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Precarious Pixels. Bob was watching TV.
I'm just distracted by this person on the screen. I think it's a person. First, I wasn't sure. It's not that one. It's the other one. They look like a Muppet.
He's watching, I think, an advertisement for a funeral home.
Yeah.
Called the Madonna.
But everybody's happy.
So as
at a
always,
funeral home.
So as you can tell, we're not at our usual recording location. We're out in the world. And as always, Precarious Pixels, I am Tim, this is Bob.
I am.
And we're doing a quick show today just because we've got a lot of stuff going on. But we didn't want to leave without, putting like a show out.
Yeah.
So, last week, we saw an amazing movie, kind of. I would say visually amazing, but story-wise, it needed a little help. We saw Alita, Battle Angel, based off of Battle Angel, Alita, the manga/anime, which is 1,000 times better.
Wow. Get wrecked.
Yeah. So we went and saw it. What were your first impressions?
It was anime. So I didn't know anything about it going into it, aside from the trailers for the movie. I'm not an anime guy. You knew about it because you had seen some of the books or read some of the books.
I read some of the books. Go ahead.
But the first time that Christoph Waltz pulls out a scythe
Yes.
the size of a LeBaron,
Yes.
I get weirded out because I'm like, this doesn't fit with the rest of this movie. I get the robots, I get the post-apocalyptic kind of future whatever going on. It was like 26th century?
I think it was like 25, 30 something.
Okay, so yeah, 26th century. Or 2600.
Yeah. What they do is they did a cool thing at the beginning where they had 26th Century Fox. They changed the logo at the last second. I thought it was kind of cool.
But that's like a big switch, and you need to let me know.
Yes.
Just let me know in advance. I get the robots.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I actually probably like the movie more than you did because I don't know the source material.
Right.
Once I got into the groove of that change, and then the dialogue was still a little rough.
Yeah.
Because Robert Rodriguez, I would venture to say that his first language is English now. He did write this.
He did.
He did.
Well, write it with... Actually, I think the writing credit was James Cameron, and I forget who the other person was.
Well, I know James Cameron's first language is English.
Yes.
So write it differently.
Yeah. This is basically them trying to fit a lot of crap into a very short time frame. Honestly, I thought that maybe they would... Alright, so it's basically the first book. And I think like the second or third book too. But it's a lot of stuff to cram in, and a lot of character development to cram in. And I think they didn't really do it. They weren't thinking... They wanted to get... Not exactly explaining this well, but I think they were trying to get to a good part in the series, which is like the whole, like the... What is it, Motorball? It was the name of the thing they played.
Like that.
They were
not rollerball.
Not rollerball. Motorball. Which is a big part, I believe, of like one of the later books. But that's almost a book in itself. Like, she doesn't really get, like, Motorball doesn't really come into, like, her periphery until, like much later in the series. And she doesn't start playing until, like, much later in the series. So it's kind of like the guy who created this had a better idea, which is, why don't I just develop the character in the first part of the series, and then we'll get to, like, the bigger stuff that's going on with the world. They were trying to do everything all at once, and it just kind of, like, made everything brown. It just, like, it flattened out everything. It's like the characters weren't fully developed. You didn't really get as much of the father-daughter relationship that was going on. Everything just felt so rushed.
Yeah, I guess there's supposed to be this really, like, heartfelt moment in the movie where she calls him father for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, alright, she called him dad.
Yeah, she called him dad. Right. It was like, okay.
Whatever.
Didn't really care. There wasn't enough build-up to it.
There's also no reason for her to call him dad.
Yeah. Yeah. It really gets... It really rushes through a lot of good stuff. Honestly, and by the way, spoilers, we're going to spoil this a little bit for you.
We'd have to.
Yeah. But I'd say like read the series. The series is so much better. Like the whole stuff of him being a hunter warrior, like all that stuff. That's a bigger, longer mystery, I think, in the series than it was in this movie.
You mean instead of like one scene where she sees something weird and then one scene where she finds out what he is?
Yeah, exactly. It was such a weird thing to rush that. I was like, okay, and then she becomes one almost immediately, and I was like, all right, that didn't like happen right away. The whole thing with like the guy she meets, like all that stuff, and they changed a couple things around where what happens to him at the end of the series, the movie, is not what happens to him at the end of that book. Like it's like they really mixed some stuff up, and it was kind of like disheartening. And they really kind of like just spell out what she is before, like you don't find that out till much later in the series. Like all that stuff is much later. There's a little bit more mystery of who she is and where she comes from and stuff. So it was kind of disappointing in that way.
And then there's this overseeing nemesis.
Yes, you don't get to him till much later. I don't even remember him being a thing for a long time.
I'm actually angry that they showed him.
Yes.
And who's playing him.
Yes.
Because I know that the chances of him ever being that in the next one...
Exactly.
First off, the choice of actor...
Yeah.
...was incredible if it was one movie.
Yes.
But this guy's kind of known for never appearing in a sequel.
That's very true.
And then he's there, and you're like, oh, I want to see him do something awesome. And he doesn't do anything. He just stares.
Yes, and another thing, we won't spoil who it was, but this actor doesn't speak, so all he really got paid for was like a cameo appearance, and they got probably paid less because he didn't have a speaking line in it.
Could you imagine if they just paid him like $15 an hour?
Yeah,
scale.
He got scale. He got extra fee.
Wow, that's how he's fallen.
There was extras in this movie who haven't won awards, who got more like line time than him. I could have done without. I forget the kid's name, but like her main like boyfriend interest, the friends, could have done without them.
Yeah.
They brought really nothing. I didn't care that when certain things happened to them. I was like, I don't really feel anything for these guys. I just don't get it.
Such weird actors to cast in it. They put Jeff Fahey in it.
Yes.
I don't even know if you recognized him. He's looked the same since... Well, yeah, you did. We talked about it. But he's looked the same since, like, 2004.
Exactly.
He looks exactly like he did on Lost, except they give him, like, robot parts.
Oh my god.
And he's there, and he says, like, 2 words.
Yeah.
He's like, he wasn't a dog person. I think that's his line.
Yeah.
In the entire movie.
Yeah.
And, like, he's an actor. I mean, he's not a phenomenal actor. Like, I wouldn't get him.
But not a bad actor.
Yeah. Why even put him there?
Like, he adds good color and stuff to this. And I was just like, okay, there's a lot more. That's another thing. There's a whole thing with the hunter-killers, or the hunter-warriors, that is bigger in the books. Like, that's a whole build-up to that stuff. They really jumped the gun on a lot of stuff. I was just like, this feels so rushed. She goes in, like, she's a hunter-warrior for, like 10 seconds. She goes in, challenges all of them, calls them all cowards. She doesn't even know them. Like, there's a whole thing, like, there's no backstory with them. There's no nothing. Like, she only really knows, like, one because she saw one walking by with a sword or whatever.
And he's immediately a villain. And he wasn't a villain before.
Yeah. Like, I was just like, it was just, they really kind of, like, they made everybody really, like, a two-dimensional character. It really kind of, like, disappointed me in a lot of ways.
It's sort of like, if this had been made 20 years ago with less technology, I would say this was what comic book movies were then.
Yes. It's bad.
It's bad, and they have all the money in the world. Like
they did, and let me tell you, they spent all the money in the world on those visual effects.
Oh, it's the movie's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It is by far some of the best things I've ever seen. The thing that I thought was funny was the eyes. So initially, everybody hated the eyes in the trailer. James Cameron went to Robert Rodriguez and said, "Listen, I agree with everybody, but actually, I want you to make the eyes bigger." And he's not the actual eyes themselves, but the irises. He's like, there's too much white space around the eyes. They don't look like normal eyes. It's not how normal eyes look. You need to make the irises bigger. And that actually, I think, helped a lot. but it's still like I almost think it was a bit of a distraction. I was just like, because nobody else had giant eyes. I'm just like,
none of the other. Well, were any of the other people that they introduced? None of them were that model, and I think that's the differentiator. And they were also, some of them were human parts.
right.
A lot of them were.
Yeah, but the only reason that she had big eyes is because the anime has big eyes. But in the anime, the manga, everybody does, because it's anime and manga, and that's just their thing. They like large, expressive eyes. It makes perfect sense. But if Christoph Waltz had giant friggin' eyes, I think everybody would just be like, screw this movie. I don't know what's going on.
What was the movie that he did almost, a couple years ago, about the painter?
Oh, Big Eyes.
Do you think he knew?
That's very true, that Tim Burton movie.
Yeah, which was a Christoph Waltz film.
Which was.
Just saying.
Yeah, big eyes. He must have a thing for big eyes.
He must.
I don't know what it is. Sorry, I think I just...
No, you didn't.
Oh, sorry.
No, I had something in my big eye.
Oh, yeah. But it was... I think it would have been better if they would just given her normal eyes, or if they wanted to go a truly monstrous way and give everybody giant eyes. That would have been interesting. But
or at least all the robot people.
yeah, like hey,
but her other crew.
Yeah, yes, like we'll spoil this a little bit for you. The Mars race that she comes from, who have, I guess, are based from this lost technology, all had that. Like all of her people had those bigger eyes.
Yeah.
So I guess you could say it's almost like that model that where she was from, like all that stuff. Yeah. But there's so much stuff they try to cram in here. Like the first time that you hear like the villain talk through somebody else, that was another thing that kind of just like took me out of it a little bit. I was like,
I didn't even know what was happening until I think somebody has a reaction to the fact that it's a villain talking.
Right, and they show if the villain's name is Nova in this, and when Nova talks, he talks through like surrogates. Basically, he talks through like. I guess he has a link to like everybody who works for him.
Well, no, he puts chips in certain people.
Right, that are like his crew, and your eyes turn like this bright blue, and that's how you know that you're possessed by Nova, and he's going to talk through you. It was just kind of ridiculous, but
yeah, like it was. Also, don't set up a sequel for a movie that you're never going to make a sequel
it's never
to.
going to make. And honestly, the stuff that yes,
I watched that too.
Oh, okay, very good. But I think that this actually it needed to not be three. I'm pretty sure it was 4 books in one movie. It should have been maybe the first 2 books. You could have maybe done a decent movie with that. It would have given more character development. All that hunter, warrior stuff wouldn't have been so rushed. There would have been more introduction to all these other characters that actually are interesting in the series. There was, because I know in the Motor Ball game, there's a whole thing between her and another player, which they introduce in this one. The kid, I think he's like a big fan of this one guy. He's like, oh, this guy could definitely go on to be like the one who gets chosen to go to the city in the sky and all that stuff. Honestly,
I want to see that.
Yeah, there's a whole like all that stuff. I'm just like, it just makes no sense to me. It was just really rushed. It was such a bad way to do this, and I don't think there's going to be a sequel. I don't think this made the money. Did it like have? Is the overseas?
I don't think it's
even overseas.
Maybe in China.
Maybe in China, but honestly, I just don't. Sorry.
No, it's me.
But I just don't see it happening. So, on to something maybe a little bit better. You've been playing Far Cry New Dawn.
I have. It is better than
Okay.
Alita Battle Angel.
Yes.
They made a lot of changes. Actually, this is I think first in a long time. I guess you can count like Instincts as being a direct sequel, but before this, they've never done a sequel to a mainline story, like a numbered Far Cry.
Right.
So this is a sequel to Far Cry 5.
Yes.
And the fact that it exists and where it exists is a spoiler.
Right.
Because at the very, very end of 5, this is going to ruin everything for you. So if you haven't played 5 yet and you want to, I'm sorry.
Right.
But this is a spoiler. And now I've given you time to shut off your podcast. Joseph Seed nukes.
Yes.
He sets off these nukes, and it causes, apparently in 17 years, everybody to come back and have been out for a while.
Yes.
And it's weird. It's not the nuclear fallout wasteland that you expect.
Right.
It's almost like
I'd say like Walking Dead, like ish.
I would say more. I don't think there's an area in this game where things aren't unnaturally covered in fauna. It's almost like if poison ivy was in one of the nukes.
True, but I've actually watched a couple things on what would happen if like after like 5 years, you don't realize it, but we kind of like if we let's say humans just stopped existing, and the plants were just like left to do whatever they want to, most everything would be covered in like green ivy. It happens super fast.
Okay.
So 17 years of like less than regular human development, and maybe people not mowing their lawns anymore or anything like that. Plants do grow that much. I can definitely see that happening.
Plants do.
Yes.
But how about ox?
Oh.
Covered, like imagine the back of like an ox or a buffalo, and the back is all like green moss,
like mutated,
and that's what I'm saying.
Weird.
Like it's unnatural plant life,
okay.
Indicated in the different animals.
Oh, okay, that's weird.
And then there's other things too that are just strange. Like there's deer, but pure like ivory white with almost like light up antlers.
Oh, I think you know what? I think somebody saw what was that Natalie Portman movie?
Annihilation.
Annihilation.
I think that's what they're going for a little bit, because this isn't a game that they spent 10 years on. It is the map from 5.
Okay.
Changed.
Obviously, years later.
Apocalyptic.
Right.
But it's a lot of fun. They also changed game design. Like you would think, oh, they just put it 17 years later and like changed the weapons and
right.
But it's now outposts and enemies are level based.
Okay.
Which is strange, because it used to be you just had a bow and arrow. Like I could play through Far Cry 5 the entire game and never change off a bow. That's how much I put into that game. Like that was like a 30-hour game.
Oh wow.
Or maybe more if you do everything.
And honestly, that's the great thing about Far Cry is it does have a long playability to it. They really make their open worlds very well. So
and their characters are interesting.
Yeah.
And this is the first time you've been able to go back afterwards and see what people think of like different areas you were in. So there was this guy who in 5, because everybody was like paranoid freaks because they've got this cult there.
Okay.
And there's this guy who thinks that aliens are coming. So he's doing this science invention. Like, I kid you not.
Okay.
He's doing this science invention, and he needs you to, like, help him find this stuff. It's like side quest. And you give him the last piece that he needs to, like, power up his generator, and it's, like, this giant Tesla coil that fries him, and then when he dies, left behind where he was is his body and a weapon.
Oh, really?
And that weapon, like, knocks people back. It's called, like, this... I don't even know if it has a name, but it's like a space gun.
Oh, wow.
It's, like, really dumb and funny. And that was just, like, a side quest in 5. But that is an area you can go to in New Dawn.
Right.
And people have reacted to that. And they're, like, freaking out because they accidentally tripped that Tesla coil, and you have to, like, sneak in, take them out, shut it off, and then find something new.
Okay. Well, what is the Tesla coil doing?
It's killing people. It's, like, giant electric bolts all over.
Which is funny because that's exactly what Tesla that's the thing that Tesla coils don't do.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's what you call it, but
yeah.
Like
it probably is. I mean, if it looks like that.
It looks like electricity falling out of this orb.
Yeah, alright. But yeah, like that's kind of funny that they put that stuff in there.
To be honest, this is the first time I think in a while I would say I kind of wish a game was gorier as well.
Oh, really?
Because the first and main post-apocalyptic weapon thing that you get is a gun that shoots saw blades.
Okay.
And it, like, ricochets off of things.
Nice.
And this is dumb.
Okay.
And it's probably, like, a me thing. And I'm sure other people have said this, but it ricochets off of things and kills people. I mean, the first one you get, I think it hits 3 times.
Does it cut off limbs, or?
It doesn't.
Oh, okay.
And that, to me, is silly.
That is.
Because when I line up a headshot and the guy just falls down, and it's...
I mean, it's a little thing, but that's almost like, that kind of reminds me of, like, Ratchet and Clank. I mean, he has, like, these, I mean, by far, probably one of the best weapon games you can ever have is Ratchet and Clank. But it's not gory. Like, people are just, like, you shoot them with black holes, and they just kind of, like, you know, dissolve, and whatever, it's cartoony. But you figure, like, in a Far Cry game, you shoot somebody with a saw blade, limbs are going to be flying everywhere.
But no.
No? There was no Kill Bill spray or nothing?
Nothing. And I think the only other issue I think I have with the game is that it's an artificially an artificially extended length of a game because of the levels. So if your character's not strong enough to go to a level 3 base and take people out because your guns and your abilities don't let you kill things that are level 3 at level 1.
Okay.
You just can't go there. Like, you go there and you're just going to get murked over and over and over. So I've tried, trust me.
Okay.
Because I just want to go explore.
Right.
But you have to level up your camp, and they made that make sense because now your camp levels up with the people you put there, and then you collect ethanol, which is like the main currency. And then that levels them up too. But yeah, I mean, it is a blast. It's a great design. It's a great redesign of a game. It's a lot of fun. I haven't met any of the other villains. I only met the twins.
Okay, the twins, and then they show those in the trailer. But I have a question: is there going to be DLC for this?
No.
No DLC.
In my opinion, this was DLC.
Okay. Okay.
It's going to be like Primal or Blood Dragon, and so Blood Dragon set a precedent for Far Cry. With Far Cry 3, they had a DLC called Blood Dragon.
Right.
Which was like, it was part of the season pass, I believe. And it was like $15 expansion or $20 expansion if you bought it separately. And it was awesome. It was this cool redesign of the game. It was like 80s future.
Okay, very cool.
The main character you played as was Michael Biehn from Terminator.
Nice.
The original, was it John Connor, right?
John
Connor's dad.
John Connor's dad. I forget his name right now, but yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so you played as him, and it was like really cool dialogue, stupid future space. And then Far Cry 4, they did a redesign of the map, and they called it Primal, but they sold it as a $60 game.
Oh, really?
It didn't sell as well, and that was when the same exact map, but it was primeval, like you were a caveman.
Oh, okay.
And then this is the same thing, and I think they found the sweet spot where it's a $40 game, this redesign.
We're good. Thank you.
But yeah, I think this was originally DLC, and it's paid expansion for $40. You don't need 5 standalone expansion, but it's a great way to make the game over again and better or different.
Yeah. No, and I think going forward, they the fact that they actually did like some different kind of gameplay with it, I think is good.
I think so too. I don't know about the levels for that series. I don't know if I like it. They did it with Assassin's Creed, and it kind of works for Assassin's Creed.
Which one?
Well, level-based enemies are a thing now.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed is an RPG.
Yeah.
And everything Ubisoft is moving towards straight RPG. And that's, you're good or bad. Like action RPG.
Action RPG is probably the best that they've done the most amazing one that they've ever done.
Right. Odyssey is brilliant.
Yeah.
But the minute you go to, I don't know, like The Division's not a great example. Ghost Recon is a great example. Or Far Cry works the same. The minute I'm a level 22 CIA operative,
yeah,
like I'm,
yeah,
I'm Jack Ryan, but I'm level 22, and I can't shoot a level 25 drug dealer in the head,
right,
in Ghost Recon Wildlands, and kill him or damage him.
Right.
That to me does not fit.
Yeah,
and it never will fit. Far Cry, it's close because there's only really 4 levels. There's 1, 2, 3, and Legendary?
Okay, alright.
Elite? Maybe Elite?
Yeah.
So that's not so bad. But I worry that they might take too much from Assassin's Creed. But that's just me. We'll see.
Yeah, leveling up has always been an issue when it gets to a point where, like what you said, it's just like people are such high levels that you can't almost even achieve that unless, like, I know that they've been doing stuff where you can actually almost pay to get like upper levels.
Well, that's the thing in this one too.
Oh, in this one, you can pay to get upper levels.
You can pay for ethanol and parts,
which helps you level up.
Well, ethanol.
Right.
This is dumb. Ethanol upgrades your workshops, which allows you to upgrade your gear because your character doesn't have levels. Just your gear. And your abilities, which also the abilities work off of perks, which you find from like magazines and doing challenges, which you can do more challenges if you have different gear. So the entire game is built around gear and leveling.
All right, no, I like that. Okay, I'm okay with that. I always liked the older, like, this was kind of an interesting game I played. I think it was like a PlayStation 1 game, maybe one of the first PlayStation 2 games. It was a samurai game, and it was basically like you fought different schools, and you could level your character up, but you couldn't like level him up in one area without it going down slightly in another area. So you could have somebody that was super fast and strong, but he might not be have a lot of endurance, which means like he didn't have a lot of hit points. Like you hit him like 3 times and your guy could be dead.
Yeah.
So I like that aspect of it. I don't know if a lot of games are doing that anymore. It seems like you can just max out everything, and I think that is maybe unfair to like new players and stuff. I don't know. I just wish they kind of like did a little bit more thinking in that realm. But I know that like a lot of their stuff now is they want to pay people or people to pay them for level up and all that stuff. That's where they're getting their extra money. I don't know if it's fair. I don't know if it's great gaming.
Yeah.
I don't know. But we're actually going to have to end here next week, or the next time we record. We'll definitely talk about Toy Fair, because me and Bob went through a lot of research on this one and saw some pretty amazing stuff. We definitely want to share it with you. So as always, I'm Tim. You can find me on the Instagrams at Tim Martinek. You can always hashtag it Precarious Pixels. You can find us on YouTube, iTunes, Spreaker, and Stitcher. Leave us a review. We love hearing from you. And Bob, you can find him.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Martin MARTON_Bob, and I'm on Instagram at Bob J Martin.
All right. And next time we'll be recording hopefully in a quieter place.
Yes.
All right.
Sorry, guys.
No, it's okay. All right. So see you guys. Bye.
Bye.
To do a little redesigning with us, you can find Bob at Martin MARTON_BOB on Twitter, and you can find me on Instagram at Tim Martinek, all one word, TIMMARTINEC. And you can join in us, have some fun, do your redesigns for this week's redesign. It's a lot of fun for us to do this, but we like to see fresh ideas and fresh artists like doing what they do as well. You can also hashtag it Precarious Pixels and we'll find it as well.